If you want to know what's inside this treasure chest, stick around until the end of the video. In 1984, Michael Eisner was brought into the Disney company as CEO and chairman of the board, a move meant to strengthen the company during a slump. Though Eisner is maybe most known for his cost-cutting measures that led to a quality decline in Disney parks, the former CEO did his best to kick off his new position with a bang. Michael Eisner declared the 1990s as the Disney decade, which focused on not just expanding existing parks, but also adding new ones. Out of the Disney decade came Disneyland Paris, Disney-MGM Studios, Disney-MGM Studios Paris, and Disney's California Adventure. This Disney decade wasn't a total success though, as Disneyland Paris's opening was essentially a disaster. In the shadow of the park's initial failure, many projects saw drastic budget cuts or were canceled completely. Disneyland's second gate is probably the best example of alterations done to save money, as the final product, Disney's California Adventure, is a far throw from the initial extravagant plans. Though maybe we should consider ourselves lucky to get a second gate at all, Eisner had plans in mind during the Disney decade that would have taken the parks in California outside of Anaheim entirely. One of them, DisneySea, was never built, but it featured a rich collection of ideas that inspired future parks to come. In the late 80s, Disney acquired the Rather Corporation. This was primarily to take control of the Disneyland Hotel, which until then wasn't actually run by Disney at all. Most other properties under the Rather Corporation were sold off, as they weren't worth the investment. One property in Long Beach, California, however, caught the eye of Eisner. Rather had previously owned and operated the historic ship, the Queen Mary, along with a parcel of land surrounding it. Here, Eisner saw an opportunity to use the ship as a focal point of a new Disney resort. In 1990, this resort, Port Disney, was announced by the Disney Company. This resort would feature an ocean-themed amusement park, marinas, a cruise ship port, retail and dining areas, and multiple hotels. Though the entirety of Port Disney was an ambitious plan, nothing was more extravagant than its park themed to the sea itself, DisneySea. In September 1991, Port Disney News was distributed by Disney to the residents of Long Beach. This pamphlet gave a more expanded description of the resort than what was originally given in the preliminary master plan. The focal point of the park would be Oceana, a two-story aquarium designed to look like rising bubbles. Inside, guests could visit different areas representing sea life from different habitats and ecosystems around the globe. Overhead walkways and underwater portholes would give guests unique views of the tanks. Interactive exhibits would educate on everything from how gills work to how coral reefs build up over time. Special demonstrations and experiments would also be available for guests to experience. Inside the Future Research Center, guests could interact with the nation's top marine biologists to learn more about the ocean. This area would be very similar to Epcot's Living Seas Pavilion. The Future Research Center would act as a real research laboratory, and in addition to demonstrations led by marine experts, kids could also enjoy a simulator ride that explored the jobs of deep-sea divers. Though DisneySea had a focus on the fungicational, it was also comprised of many lands that used attractions and dining to elevate the park experience. Mysterious Island, an area run by pirates, took guests into the depths of the ocean to discover Atlantis, and winding through the lava caverns of an active volcano in two of their e-ticket rides. Heroes Harbor was accessible through the Aqua Labyrinth, a maze with walls made of water. Once guests passed through the maze, they would find rides based on the legends of Sinbad, Ulysses, and other fabled adventurers of the past. Boardwalk, an area themed to Long Beach's defunct Pike Amusement Park, sat along the edge of the bay. Adjacent to this area would be Fleets of Fantasy, a harbor full of fantastic ships, which were actually homes of restaurants, attractions, and entertainment experiences. Fincher Reefs would allow guests to take a dip in the water to swim, snorkel, and if they were brave enough, cage dive with sharks. A park like DisneySea was to have a high price tag. The park, alongside with Port Disney as a whole, was projected to cost Disney $3 billion. Despite the cost, Eisner and Walt Disney Imagineering were up to the task. The Port Disney Preliminary Master Plan summed up the attitude of the company well. Disney's Imagineers have focused their efforts on exploring the myths, romance, challenges, and mysteries of the ocean, the world's last great frontier. Both fun and educational, DisneySea would break down barriers between our guests and the sea. Despite the boost to the economy and creation of jobs that DisneySea would have purportedly brought to the city of Long Beach, the city was opposed to the idea of Disney moving into town. Residents were worried that local roads couldn't accommodate a large influx of traffic, and having a massive resort in town would surely drive up the cost of living as well. It was estimated that the cost of reworking Long Beach's infrastructure to allow more lanes of traffic would be around $2 billion. In addition to these concerns, the California Coastal Commission fought hard against Disney using 250 acres of open coastal water to build this resort on. The environmental impact would take a toll on the shoreline, an area DisneySea was supposed to be celebrating. Combined with the altogether cost of Port Disney, this backlash was too much for Michael Eisner. Focus was shifted over to build Westcott as Disneyland's second gate in December 1991, less than 2 years after Port Disney was announced. And, as we all know, Westcott didn't really work out either. Not all was lost when Port Disney and DisneySea were cancelled. In fact, most of DisneySea was just put on the shelf for later use. Back in 1988, Oriental Land Company decided it wanted to build another Disney park in Tokyo. This expansion of the resort was initially planned as a studios park, similar to the one in development for Walt Disney World. After plans were scrapped for DisneySea in California, those ideas were recycled for a unique park in Tokyo. California's DisneySea was set to cost around $1 billion. But Tokyo Disneyland didn't have to rely on Disney's budget for their version of the park. Tokyo DisneySea was given a budget of $4.5 billion, and it resulted in arguably the best Disney park in the world. Soon after you walk through the gates of Tokyo DisneySea, you come upon the SS Columbia, a copy of the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Mysterious Island houses the planned volcano, with both e-ticket attractions inside, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. On the Arabian coast, guests can experience Sinbad's Storybook Adventure, a boat ride originally planned for California's Heroes Harbor. Tokyo DisneySea dropped the fungicational aspect of the original park, but that loss came with quite a bounty of rewards. It goes to show that even when plans for the Disney parks are cancelled, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gone for good. After all, how could the company turn a blind eye to such a sea of possibilities? Now for the big reveal. Foolish mortals? Is that a hint for next week's video? Maybe it is. Thank you, Ye Olde Prop Shop, for the hint. If you love this sign just as much as we do, go check out their store. They've also got lots of other Disney park signs. We also want to announce last week's giveaway winner. Congrats, Cameron Rowell. And be sure to comment with the hashtag DisneySea giveaway for a chance to win this week's t-shirt. If you want to connect with Fastpass Facts on Twitter, follow them at Fastpass Facts. If you want to see more of me, I'm Noah, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Noah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. See you next week!